you do have anything you'd like to say, you can pop it into the chat. Good afternoon. Nice to see you. We will have questions and you can ask them at any point, pop them into the conversation, and I'll do my best to come back and pick them up. But also there'll be a chance at the end to just generally pick my brains and understand a little bit more about the process. Or if you've got anything that's more unique to the school that you're coming from, then that's absolutely fine. I know that many of you are joining us from different educational phases. So we've got primary, we've got secondary, we've got all through schools and possibly one college. Just to assure you that the Showcase Incubator program does suit everybody, and it will work for whichever educational phase or phases you work within. We today will give you the introduction to what a Showcase Incubator School is, and then we will cover off how you get started on that journey and also how Turn It On and Microsoft can support you in that journey. We will make sure that by the end of this, you've got contact details should you wish to take any steps further, and I will direct you to all the appropriate links. We will have a follow-up email that will come from our marketing department, and then they will send through any resources from today's session that you need to get hold of in addition. So to begin with, we're going to have a look at the benefits of the Showcase School program and just how to couch that application. There are many schools all around the world that have joined the process, and UK is, I would say, leading the way with many other countries and regions in the world. But at the same time, it's remembering that if you do decide to become a Showcase school or a Showcase Incubator school first, you'll be part of a global community. And some of the best times that I've had in working with Showcase Incubator schools is where not just networking within a community or even within this country, they start to get ideas from around the world. Now, they don't always translate into every context, but you can get some really fantastic insights from how people are approaching similar problems and how they've overcome them by talking in that global community. And if you do decide to join Microsoft and Turn It On to become a Showcase Incubator school, you'll be able to get access to that community and also contribute to that community. The number of schools is growing all the time, and it changes year on year. The Showcase School Incubator pathway, which is what you would join first, would be the first year of you working with Microsoft and Turn It On. Then at the end of that year, you would either transition and graduate to become a fully fledged Microsoft Showcase school, having met certain criteria, or you might need some additional support. That journey varies depending on every school, as you are at different points in your own development, and you may have a different vision. Something changes throughout the year. Maybe in the UK, you have an Ofsted inspection, which changes your focus for a year. And actually there's something more important you need to deal with for a period of time before you come back to Showcase Incubator. It might be the Showcase Incubator, and the digital transformation that you're trying to achieve through it is absolutely the key to success anyway, and we hope that it is. So with the elements that you would find in Showcase Incubator, there's certain criteria, and that's a commitment from the individuals in the school and the school as a whole to commit to transforming using the educational transformation framework. Now, that's a framework from Microsoft, and it's got 4 pillars, and you can see them on the left-hand side there: leadership and policy, teaching and learning, intelligent environment, and student and school success. Those 4 pillars, which are called the Education Transformation Framework, or the ETF, also underpin and make the foundation of the Showcase Schools program. The two are very much linked. So should you decide to come on this journey with us and with Microsoft, we would spend some time looking at each of those pillars and how different subsections of those pillars can be addressed in your school, and how you can use that to drive the change management process that you will be undertaking. And then, as I said at the beginning, no single school, 2 schools will have the same pathway. They will have variations because we've all got different needs and different improvement targets, and that will help you to meet those. We also want to foster, or you to foster, a culture of leadership and growth. That very much the open mindset that anything is possible. We've just got to find out how to do it. And that's something that's absolutely core to this, because you'll need to be bold in what you do and have a go. You won't always be successful every time, and that's why the global community is there. That's why Turn It On would be there to support you if you decided to join us, but also Microsoft as well. And that community would lift you up and help you carry along in that journey to be successful. We also want the criteria to reflect that you're trying to offer personalized learning opportunities for pupils or students, and that you're being as inclusive as possible. Now, ultimately, they're the aims of education anyway, but we're hoping from digital transformation, you can be even more inclusive and you can find ways to personalize learning even further. And it makes it easier, not adding to the workload of the school or the staff, that you're using Microsoft tools and technology to do that. Also developing those future ready and transferable skills, not just for students and pupils, but also for the staff. And those transferable skills help to make schools more robust in the flex and the way they respond to future challenges and situations, and more resilient to overcoming what they've got yet to face. The program will offer you many opportunities to get even more data. Now, I know that schools are a data-rich environment and that you are faced with using that every day, particularly around student progress or performance of the school. But what it will do is it will give you data to delve even deeper into things like individual classes and understand how learning's happening in that class, or look at the whole school data in different ways. And it won't detract from what you're able to do, but it will add and maybe enhance and give you opportunities to look at things in different ways. The other criteria we want to look at is the learning impact, in that you're really demonstrating what's been enabled by using Microsoft technologies and solutions. We fully accept that you won't just be using exclusively software applications or technologies from Microsoft, and there's going to be a whole range of platforms, websites, softwares that you use in school and devices. But we want to, particularly in the Showcase Schools program, hone in on the Microsoft solutions and understand just how they're working for you. I think when I get asked most about the Showcase Schools program, it's what you can enjoy about it. Well, people often feedback when they get to the other end of this, it's hearing that they've got validation about what they're trying to achieve, that ability to connect with others, and the motivation it gives them as a school on that program, because no longer are they trying to do this in isolation. They're part of a bigger community, and they've got direction because of the regular contact with Microsoft and Turn It On as a partner, but also they've got that community to fall back on if they do want to ask questions, as I said earlier. So the 4 areas that are absolutely crucial would be support, recognition, impact, and community. And the support comes in building capacity for the leaders in the school and the teachers that make the learning possible. It will also be support for that digital transformation process. So it'll be guidance, because there'll be sessions to join and attend. There will be resources to support you with that, so you won't have to recreate the wheel. There'll be resources given to you. There'll also be support for the technologies that you might decide to adopt and use from Microsoft. And there'll be opportunities to find out new developments earlier on, so you can find out how they might work for your school, or even offer to adopt them early in your school to be able to get on and hopefully bring about that transformation by something that's not quite there for the whole market yet. The recognition is at the end of the Showcase School process. You will get listed, and Microsoft publish a list of Showcase schools. You'll also get accreditation, as in you'll get badges and banners that you can add to your marketing material and your publications. But you'll also be able to then network with other Showcase schools in the UK. And as I said, you will also be able to go global if you wish to. The impact column is looking at how you shape the future of the school using all these different blend of technologies, and also how you can have increased visibility and influence on the learning culture in the school, but also the local community around you. The community is something that I've mentioned many times, but this really is joining a like-minded set of people, school leaders, teachers. They've all got one passion. They want to make education and learning better. And the way that they want to do that is bringing about that change management through digital engagement. that's devices, that's software, that's applications, that's platforms, not to make things more difficult or complicated, but to make it easier, to make it just flow, to make it so that things such as technology help instead of hinder. And by coming on that journey, you'll be able to thrash out in advance what your vision is, spot some of those pitfalls, and also get directed to understand where you might be able to make a better choice, or you might to save some time, because we're all for supporting each other. But also then you may have somebody in your school that becomes a real expert in the field, and they might be able to then offer CPD and help in other ways. The benefits to the school itself in the way of support are many that I've just covered there. So you will have capacity to develop everybody in the school. It won't be that anyone's in isolation. And the resources that you get are not just for the change management, they will support different people at different levels, regardless of the role in their school, so that they can be successful in driving this holistic improvement, but all contributing in their own way and all having a positive experience because of the resources that you've got there and the support that you've got behind you from the sessions you'd either have with us or the sessions you'd have with Microsoft. The recognition, as I said, will be those marketing materials, and also the fact that you will then become showcased on a national stage as a showcase school. The impact that you have in school won't stop at the end of that first year. One of the things that surprises all of the showcase schools we've worked with previously is that once you've gained momentum and you've started and you've got your first set of projects completed, there will inevitably some that you don't get to, or get delayed, or you just needed to pause because there were other priorities and other digital transformation projects that you were trying to complete. And that impact then stretches beyond the initial showcase program and it goes further. The community is just not to be underestimated. It's there, it continues to be there, and there's almost a special kind of bond that people get because they've got the opportunity to easily tap into people that are going through similar scenarios, have had similar experiences, and can more readily and easily find those answers that they're looking for. The expectations from Microsoft of a showcase school in the way of support is that we, as Turn It On, work with Microsoft, and we would work in a mentoring capacity to help you as a school that's an incubator for the first year to become a fully fledged school. The expectations that you make people available to work on those sessions, and you commit to that journey, and you come along at regular intervals to discuss what you're doing next, reflect on what you've done previously, and map out, and you will be remapping the future because nothing stays the same. We all know from vision planning in school that what we start with as a 5-year plan never ends up being that 5 years down the line. So it's really important to make sure that you commit to that journey with us. There will be some twilight sessions, there will be some half days, but not so many of those because we understand the pressure of releasing people for PPA cover and so forth. But there will also be the opportunity to go on tours of other showcase schools. Now, with COVID being with us at the moment, they wouldn't necessarily be face-to-face, but we've run some really successful virtual tours and virtual days with other showcase schools. And no, you couldn't physically get to walk around a site, but everyone fed back. They got just as much from that program as they did previously. So it's a real opportunity there to make sure that you've got a chance to keep that networking going, keep understanding what's happening in the other showcase network around you. The recognition will come from your ability to have a platform to share your successes. People will want to hear how you've been successful, and sometimes you might be doing that within a network group. Other times it might be something like Bets, which happens in the Excel Centre in London, and you get an opportunity to go along and join on the Microsoft stand and showcase what you've been doing. I've seen teachers there from showcase schools in the past that might be talking about what they're doing in their classroom practice. I've seen middle leaders and senior leaders talking about the digital transformation in their school. So there'll be lots of opportunities to do that. Sometimes it might be a written case study, and that's carried forward by Microsoft itself, but there will be recognition that comes with being a showcase school. The impact is that working regionally with a training partner, so that will be us, and also making sure that you train others. The desire from Microsoft is to improve the standards in your school, but also a bit like a pass it on mechanism to help positively influence other schools around you. And that community that you will regularly join events and give back, just like you will receive when you're going through your incubator phase, and that you engage as much as possible. And we appreciate time is tight and we appreciate the pressures. What I'd encourage you to do at the beginning is to try and be smart with what you're doing. Think about something you're doing either in classrooms around the school or a change that you need to make, and incorporate that as part of the showcase process. So you don't create something in addition, you try and solve or make an improvement in the school and add that into the showcase process to make it manageable as above anything else. To help you do that, when you come to it, if you decide to go through it, I'm not expecting you to read that. There is a rubric which guides you through. The rubric has got different areas and they are linked and, as I said, underpinned by the educational transformation framework that we looked at the beginning of this presentation. But if you did decide to apply to become a showcase incubator, and we'll talk about how to do that very soon, you would use that rubric to guide you. And there's resources that are very rich resources in that rubric which support you in planning out your transformation process. How are you going to manage that change in small chunks, which ultimately gives you the bigger desired picture that you wish to strive for? There are certain criteria that a showcase school needs to meet, and I want to be absolutely transparent about those up front. And sometimes that's where the questioning leads to at the end of this session, because people think, well, how on earth do I achieve the criteria that are going to be asked of me? And they are achievable. I promise you they are, and loads of schools have achieved them previously. It's just thinking about how you can work with Microsoft, how you can adopt possibly new technologies that you aren't currently utilizing, not necessarily with any additional cost, because a lot of them are free, but just understanding how you can utilize them, thinking about transition training that might need to go in alongside them, and supporting everyone in the school so that you're going on that journey together. It's really important that everyone comes with you. So that commitment to transform is absolutely key, that the school leadership vision and that commitment to embark upon a multi-year journey guided and curated by the educational transformation framework and the sessions and the support that you would get from Turn It On and Microsoft. There's a culture, as we said at the beginning, of learning and growth, that growth mindset, that willingness to grapple with problems and have the resilience to overcome them and not just give up, stick with it and maybe explore until you find something that works for you. So Microsoft are asking for 60% of the educators and leaders in the school to have a Microsoft Education Center profile. For those of you that haven't visited the MEC, the Microsoft Education Center, it's a self-study resource that supports CPD. You can sign up for absolutely nothing. It's free. Once you've signed up, there are courses, or there are a series of courses on there called Learning Pathways. You can undertake them and you can use them to develop areas that have been highlighted in your educational transformation plan as part of that change management process. And not all staff have to undertake the same courses or pathways, but together that would underpin upskilling the staff in school to give them the capacity to drive that change that you desire. 25% of the people joining the Microsoft Education Center, or the MEC, would need to become certified MIEs. That means you complete 2 courses, roughly they're 500 points a course, and you get 1,000 points in total, and then you're awarded a certified MIE. So you need 25% of the staff in your school to log on to the MEC and do 2 courses normally and get 1,000 points, and then they get a badge awarded to them which proves they're at your school and they've got what's called a certified MIE, Microsoft Innovator Educator. Then you'll need 3% of people to go further, and Turn On have just finished running a program called the Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert Program. Those are people that are really digital leaders and ambassadors in the school, and you are going to need some of those to work with the senior leadership team to drive this change management process. It might be part of their own personal development target, which links to the school development plan, but 3% of those will need to go further, and they'll need to go through a self-nomination process where they answer some questions and they become certified MIEEs, Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts. The window for that is still open. It is open till July the 15th. So if you think you've got anybody in school, maybe you're in secondary, you've got some staff which you've got lighter timetables now, year 11 are out, and they've got capacity to do that. It's really up to the school to think about their own personal situation. If you can't do that this year, you can do that as part of next year's process, because the MIEE program runs absolutely every year, and Turn It On will be running a fully guided and curated program to support with that as well, which is absolutely free for you to sign up to because we work with Microsoft. So you need to have those number of people getting Microsoft qualifications and accreditations in order to qualify ultimately after being an incubator for a year as a showcase school. Coming back to the personalized learning and inclusion, you need to be able to demonstrate that you're using technology more than ever to accommodate the needs of pupils and students, to have that big focus on helping everyone to realize their potential by giving them greater access to learning. So it could be certain tools that just make resources more open. It could be that you're using translator tools to be as inclusive, such as EAL, pupils or students. But there's lots of tools there that are absolutely free from Microsoft that will help, certainly in a classroom situation, and also may help certain staff as well with their roles in school. So you need to demonstrate that you're using those technologies. The future ready skills that we discussed previously are people thinking about, as staff working in a teaching and learning capacity in school, how are you preparing students for those future ready skills, those transferable skill sets? A lot of them do go back to growth mindset. 21st century learning skills are part of the educational transformation framework, and you can see it again on the left there, and those 4 pillars that underpin the educational transformation framework. But they're absolutely key to people making sure that they're driving that and they're taking the opportunities. And we're not suggesting that technology is going to replace any traditional methods. It's not. But what it can do is really complement it very well and open up doors that maybe weren't there as a possibility previously. What we want to do is make successful learners that when they leave your school, whichever phase you're working in, that they can take those skills and transfer them to a new context, whether it's an educational context or they're going out to the world of work, and help them to be successful whichever journey. The data driving decisions is that you'll get insights into the use of different software. You'll get insights into how teams have been utilized. It'll also give you visibility where something's been proving really popular, or could we do more of that? Or if something's not being engaged with, why is it not being engaged with? What do we need to change? Is it the way we're presenting it? Is it that staff aren't trained or students don't see the value in it? Is getting that, again, that holistic feedback as well, because once you've got the data, you can go and talk to people, and you might not have been informed to have those discussions before. It could have been a hunch, but what you'll get is data from this process that you can utilize to have those sorts of discussions. And then the final metric, the final bit that we're going to be looking at is the Microsoft solutions, you using Microsoft technologies in school, be it hardware devices, be it software platforms, applications, that we need 60% of the school using Teams. That could be students, it could be staff, you might be in a trust, so it could be that you're using it trust-wide, it could be with a governing body, however it is, but we need to have 60% Teams usage. Also, that their teachers need to be using Office 365 as their main way of productivity. So we're not suggesting this is going to replace things like specialist pieces of board software and interactive boards, but that you're making huge use of the technologies that are in Office 365. Things like Teams, Sway, Forms, those sorts of technologies become the fabric of what you're doing in school, and you might not even know what they are at the moment, but that's okay. You'll discover them while you're a showcase incubator school in that first year. When you go through some of those sessions, you'll come in, you'll be exposed to them, you'll see what they can do, and that will give you the opportunity to consider whether they're right for your school. Also, we need to make sure that 60% of all the devices in your school are Windows 10 devices. And when the next version of Windows comes out very soon, that may well change to the next version, but 60% of devices should be Windows 10 based. So that's probably leading you to think, well, how on earth do I get to join this? And I'm going to go through that next as a flow chart for you. So you will apply to become a Showcase Incubator school, and we can give you the links of where to go and look at that in a little bit. You're either going to be a new build school or you are going to be an existing school. It doesn't matter either way. Even if you are a virtual school that doesn't physically exist, you can still sign up to become a Showcase Incubator and finally a Showcase school. Either way, you'll get approval in your application process, and then you will put together a Showcase school plan. And that is where the educational transformation comes in, and then the resources and the guidance from Microsoft and also from Turnitin. The Showcase Schools program helps you to meet the criteria that are required to graduate at the end and become a Showcase school. It also makes sure that your application that you'll put in is strong and it's got all of the areas that you need to include, and then it will lead to acceptance. But you are going to need to commit to at least 1 year of being a Showcase Incubator school in order to successfully get through that process. So the first steps will be for you to familiarise yourself with the Educational Transformation Framework. Not in great detail, but just have an awareness of what it is. And we've already shown you what's called the 4 pillars today. And there's a link when you get these materials sent after today to the rubric, which I showed you on screen, which was absolutely minute. But the rubric is the thing that will be used to assess any Showcase school at the end to see if they have hit all of the criteria and they're going to graduate and become a fully fledged Showcase school after being an incubator. Then for step 2, you either nominate your school, and if you are a new school, as I said, or you're virtual, you nominate your school using one type of link. If you're already operational, what you're going to do is put together a sway or a video, and it will talk through certain areas. Your vision for change will need to come across really clearly, that you've got a clear vision, you understand where you want to get to. You might not at that point know how to get there, but you know where you want to be. That you've got education and leader professional development in place. You're somebody that invests in the staff and you're going to support everybody through this journey. And that you already like to drive improvement by being informed by data-driven decisions. And that the learning that you want to achieve will be personalized and it will help everybody with their well-being. So we're not just talking about academic standards here, we're also thinking about the whole individual, so we want to think about mental well-being at the same time, and that you are going to demonstrate a mindset for delivering transferable future-ready skills for 21st century learning. And then you're going to have certain areas or prompts you need to respond to, and you're going to need to talk through the bullet points that are on screen now. That you're going to have to explain what this is, what you think about education transformation today, where you are, where you want to go to be, outside influences, aspirations. It needs to come into that point. Also saying what you're going to hope to learn by going through and really structuring the change process by using the Educational Transformation Framework and engaging with all the support from Microsoft and Turnitin as a partner to guide you through the year of Showcase Incubator. Thinking about how you're going to take those next steps and flex and react, but also try and be proactive and have a strategic plan. You need to be honest and explain what your current blockers are, what are your challenges. It may be that you've got a limited budget and you're going to need to be really creative with the small amount of money you've had. It's very hard to find the money sometimes to invest in devices. Or you might think, I need to invest some time in releasing staff to get them to undertake and participate in this, and that might be a challenge. But be really honest, and you can go into quite a bit of depth there. And quite often there's some similar areas, and budget is one of those, but there's often quite a few unique areas that we see as well for schools coming into the Showcase Incubator program. But you must make sure as well you give context. So explain where your school is, the county you're in, make sure your role as the person applying is really visible, where you work in the school, what you do in the school. And then you use a similar self-nomination form. So the key links will be in this slide deck, when you get it through. But for today, I'm not going to give any more greater depth than that, and I'm also at time. So really, it's now over to you. Have you got any questions? And I will gladly do my best to answer those now. And the materials then will follow up, as I've said. You'll get them emailed out to you because you've signed up to today's program, and you can reflect as to whether you want to move this forward with this. The Showcase Incubator program, we will have an event before the summer holiday in late July to really explain in a bit more detail how that first application works. And then moving on from there, it will be in the autumn, starting the formal program of Showcase Incubator sessions, workshops, insight days with other Showcase schools that will span across the 12 months. And we want to make sure that we're investing in you as well to help you become a Showcase school. So that whole process is an additional layer of support that you wouldn't necessarily get if you just tried to go it alone. Now, you are welcome to do that, and absolutely fine to do that if you think, actually, we'd like to do this on our own time and we don't want to be going through a supported and assisted program. You just need to apply. But if you do want some additional support, it wouldn't cost you anything to do that. Microsoft pays for that. So you just need to sign up and join us. The deadline to put in your nomination form is the 1st of August 2021. And then usually the following August, so it would be August 2022, that's where the decisions are made by Microsoft and people go from being an incubator school after spending the first year of doing so through to becoming a fully fledged Showcase school. If you do become a Showcase school as well, just for transparency, the expectation from Microsoft is that you will contribute and you will have to reapply. You don't automatically roll over and keep that status forever. You'll need to keep innovating, and you're going to want to improve and change as a school and strive for high standards. And that will always give you the evidence to put in the next year's application, but it's something that you will have to apply to on an annual basis. I'm quite significantly over time, so apologies for people that have stayed with me today, but I do appreciate you staying here. So really, it's over to you. Have you got any questions, anything you'd like to ask? I will do my best to answer them for you. The MEC profile, I will pop that in the chat for you now. Let me just call up the MEC. Let's do that there. Anyone else got any questions? Just going to get you the link for that. Just going to pop this in the chat now, and the Microsoft Education Center link is there. If you click the link in the conversation, it will take you to the landing page of the Microsoft Education Center, and then you go to the top right hand corner and you click sign in, or you click create an account. If you're going to create an account, I'd usually advise you to use your school email address. Once that's created, you can start completing courses, and that will quickly, as I said, 2 of those will give you the 1,000 points you need to become an MIE, and then you'll need to decide in school who are going to be the digital leaders, and normally it's the digital leaders that are driving this along with the leadership team in school that then go to become an MIE. But as I said, we will have another program starting from roughly January, February 2022, while Turnitin guides you through that, helps you with the evidence to put the application in. So if people want to join that, we'll also be re-signposting that during the Showcase Incubator program. Paul, I can see you got a question in there about special schools. Yes, there's been plenty of special schools that have worked in this program. I haven't taken one through the process personally, but my background is education. I'm an ex-head teacher myself, so I have worked with special schools and worked not in a special school, but worked as a link teacher to a special school. So I've got experience of working with special schools, so I don't foresee there should be anything there as an extra complication by working through this process as a special school at all. Any other questions at all? See a couple of people typing. I'll just let them type that into the conversation there. Pop you a couple of the other links in just so you can understand a bit more about the Showcase Schools program. This is the Showcase Schools introduction page. I'm just about to pop into the conversation now. If you'd be able to click. No others at this stage. Thank you, Shalom. Good to see you again as well. It's nice to see you back here. If there aren't any more questions, I'll end the recording and also say a huge thank you for coming along today and the time that you've given me. If you do need to know anything, the email address on screen